Scientists are planning to add more monitoring sites to one of Washington's high-risk volcanoes. 6 earthquakes last month at Mount Adams.
No one knows. Even the scientists just have theories at the moment about the series of earthquakes at and surrounding Mount Adams. What causes these sudden movements? Is nature speaking to us, showing signs that nothing in this world ever stays the same? Is something brewing beneath its surface? Let's hope not. Mount Adams is currently under investigation, and you might want to brace yourself for shocking, but still worth to know explanations about the earthquake surge around it. Recent seismic activity. Mount Adams, the second highest peak in Washington state, has long been a subject of fascination for geologists, adventurers, and mystics alike. However, recent seismic activity in the region has raised eyebrows and concerns among experts and locals. In the past 3 months, the United States Geological Survey, USGS, has recorded over 300 small to moderate earthquakes near Mount Adams. These quakes, ranging from magnitude 1.5 to 3.7 SAR, are significantly higher in frequency and intensity than the region's typical baseline activity. The epicenters of these tremors are clustered primarily on the mountain's southwestern flank, an area previously deemed geologically stable. This level of seismic activity is unprecedented for Mount Adams, says Dr. Laura Kim, a volcanologist at the Cascades Volcano Observatory. Although the mountain has shown signs of volcanic activity in the distant past, it has been largely dormant for thousands of years. This recent spike is intriguing and warrants further investigation. It might be the tectonic plates moving, or more possible reason. The potential causes. Mount Adams lies in a region influenced by the convergence of the Juan de Fuca and North American tectonic plates. This subduction zone generates significant stress in the Earth's crust, often releasing energy in the form of earthquakes. The surge in seismic activity could result from increased tectonic stress, potentially caused by changes in plate velocity or shifts in the subduction dynamics. Experts are also considering magma movement. As an active volcano, Mount Adams has a complex magma system beneath its surface. Earthquakes in volcanic regions often indicate magma movement as it forces its way through cracks in the Earth's crust. This upward movement can create pressure changes, leading to seismic surges. Such activity might signal a reawakening of the volcano, though it doesn't necessarily mean an imminent eruption. Hydrothermal systems are common around stratovolcanoes like Mount Adams. When water interacts with hot rocks beneath the surface, it can create steam and gas pressure. Changes in these systems, such as an increase in fluid volume or pressure, can trigger small-scale earthquakes. The recent surge might reflect adjustments in the hydrothermal system, rather than a direct volcanic or tectonic cause. Glacial activity on Mount Adams might also contribute to seismic surges. The mountain's glaciers exert substantial weight on the crust. As glaciers retreat due to climate change, the reduction in pressure allows the crust to adjust, potentially causing earthquakes. This process, known as glacial isostatic adjustment, has been documented in other volcanic regions. Human activities, such as groundwater extraction or construction, could indirectly influence seismic activity around Mount Adams. While the area is relatively remote, nearby developments might disrupt the balance of geological systems. Additionally, deep injection of fluids for geothermal energy or other industrial purposes has been linked to increased seismicity in other regions. Mount Adams, located in the Cascade Range of Washington state, is a natural treasure with ecological, geological, and cultural significance. However, human activities in the region have increasingly disrupted its delicate balance. From resource exploitation to recreational impacts, the effects of human actions are altering the landscape and ecosystem surrounding this iconic stratovolcano. Are these disruptive activities taking its toll? The forests around Mount Adams are rich in biodiversity and play a vital role in maintaining the region's ecological stability. However, logging and deforestation have significantly impacted these ecosystems. Logging activities disrupt wildlife habitats, increase soil erosion, and alter water cycles by reducing the ability of forests to absorb and regulate water. Additionally, logging roads can fragment habitats, making it harder for species to thrive. Mining for resources such as gravel, minerals, or geothermal energy has created localized disruptions near Mount Adams. These activities can lead to habitat destruction, contamination of groundwater with mining byproducts, and the destabilization of geological features. In some cases, deep drilling for geothermal energy has been linked to increased seismic activity, raising concerns about its effects on the region's geological stability. Mount Adams is a popular destination for outdoor enthusiasts who engage in hiking, camping, skiing, and climbing. While recreation brings economic benefits to nearby communities, it also causes environmental stress. Trails and campsites often lead to soil compaction, vegetation loss, and erosion. Improper waste disposal by visitors pollutes streams and lakes, affecting aquatic ecosystems. Additionally, the increased foot traffic disturbs wildlife, particularly in sensitive areas. Infrastructure projects, including roads, buildings, and communication towers, have disrupted the natural landscape around Mount Adams. These developments fragment habitats, increase noise pollution, and encroach on previously untouched areas. The construction process itself can lead to significant land alteration and contribute to the loss of biodiversity in the region. Agriculture near Mount Adams has introduced challenges such as water diversion, pesticide use, and land conversion. Diverting water for irrigation reduces the flow in streams and rivers, impacting aquatic ecosystems and downstream communities. Pesticides and fertilizers can contaminate water sources, threatening both wildlife and human populations. While not solely a result of local activities, human-induced climate change has had a profound impact on Mount Adams, particularly its glaciers. The region's glaciers are retreating at an alarming rate, primarily due to rising global temperatures. This retreat contributes to changes in water availability, impacts the mountain's ecosystems, and increases the likelihood of natural hazards like landslides and flooding. Mount Adams holds deep spiritual significance for Native American tribes in the region, such as the Yakima Nation. Human activities that disrupt the natural landscape also interfere with cultural practices and sacred sites. Logging, mining, and recreational development often encroach on areas of cultural importance, causing tension between traditional land stewardship and modern industrial use. Ultimately, understanding these causes will improve preparedness and resilience in the face of geological uncertainties. How dangerous is Mount Adams in case a volcanic explosion happens? When eruption happens. One of the most dangerous hazards associated with a Mount Adams eruption is the potential for pyroclastic flows, fast-moving avalanches of hot gases, ash, and volcanic debris. These flows can travel at high speeds, obliterating everything in their path, including forests, wildlife, and human settlements. Additionally, Mount Adams' steep slopes make it prone to the formation of lava domes, which can collapse and trigger pyroclastic flows. The intense heat and speed of these flows make them nearly impossible to escape, posing a significant risk to life and property. Given Mount Adams' extensive glaciers and snowpack, an eruption could lead to the rapid melting of ice, resulting in lahars. These destructive mudflows of volcanic debris and water can travel far downstream, inundating river valleys and nearby communities. Lahars are especially hazardous because they can occur with little warning, sweeping away homes, infrastructure, and farmland in their path. The Klickitat and White Salmon rivers, which drain Mount Adams, would be at high risk of such flows, endangering towns downstream. A Mount Adams eruption would likely produce an ash plume, sending volcanic ash high into the atmosphere. Ashfall can spread over vast distances, disrupting air travel, damaging crops, and contaminating water supplies. Inhaling volcanic ash poses health risks, particularly for individuals with respiratory conditions. The fine particles can also cause mechanical failures in vehicles and machinery, compounding the economic impact of the eruption. Eruptions release large quantities of volcanic gases, including sulfur dioxide, carbon dioxide, and hydrogen sulfide. These gases can have harmful effects on human health, agriculture, and the environment. Sulfur dioxide, in particular, can lead to acid rain, which damages ecosystems and structures. In confined areas near the eruption site, the accumulation of carbon dioxide can create asphyxiating conditions, posing a silent but deadly threat to both humans and animals. Mount Adams has a history of landslides and debris avalanches, even in the absence of eruptions. An eruption could destabilize the mountain's flanks, triggering massive landslides. These avalanches of rock and volcanic material can bury valleys, block rivers, and create secondary hazards such as flooding. The potential for such large-scale collapses amplifies the danger posed by an eruption. A major eruption of Mount Adams could have far-reaching climatic impacts. Volcanic ash and gases released into the atmosphere can lead to temporary cooling effects by reflecting sunlight away from the Earth. Historically, large volcanic eruptions have been linked to global climate anomalies, such as colder temperatures and disrupted weather patterns. While these effects would not pose an immediate danger to the local population, they would have significant implications for agriculture and ecosystems worldwide. The region surrounding Mount Adams includes small towns, agricultural areas, and recreational facilities. An eruption would likely lead to widespread destruction of property and displacement of residents. Roads, bridges, and power lines could be damaged or destroyed, complicating evacuation and relief efforts. The economic fallout would extend to tourism, agriculture, and forestry, all of which are vital to the local economy. Mount Adams is home to diverse ecosystems, including dense forests, alpine meadows, and glacial streams. An eruption would devastate these habitats, killing wildlife, destroying vegetation, and altering water systems. The recovery of these ecosystems would take decades or even centuries, with long-term consequences for biodiversity and environmental health. Even after the immediate hazards subside, the aftermath of a Mount Adams eruption would pose ongoing challenges. Volcanic landscapes are prone to erosion, making the area vulnerable to future landslides and flooding. Rebuilding infrastructure and restoring the environment would require significant time and resources. Additionally, the psychological impact on affected communities, including trauma and displacement, would linger for years. Is Mount St. Helens also to be blamed? Mount St. Helens and Mount Adams are two iconic stratovolcanoes in Washington state's Cascade Range. Despite their distinct geological characteristics, their proximity and shared tectonic setting suggest an interconnected relationship that can influence seismic activity. Understanding the link between these two volcanic giants is crucial for assessing regional seismic risks and potential volcanic hazards. Note that the technical distance between Mount St. Helens and Mount Adams is approximately 34 miles or 55 kilometers. First off, the two shared tectonic setting. Both Mount St. Helens and Mount Adams lie in the Cascade Volcanic Arc, a region formed by the subduction of the Juan de Fuca Plate beneath the North American Plate. This tectonic activity generates significant stress in the Earth's crust, creating the conditions for volcanic activity and seismic earthquakes. Mount St. Helens, located approximately 50 kilometers west of Mount Adams, is one of the most active volcanoes in the range, while Mount Adams has been relatively dormant in recent centuries. However, the tectonic forces influencing one volcano can have ripple effects on the other, as they are part of the same regional stress system. Seismic swarms, clusters of small earthquakes, are often precursors to volcanic eruptions and may indicate magma movement beneath the surface. Mount St. Helens is well known for its frequent seismic activity, including the dramatic increase in earthquakes leading up to its 1980 eruption. This heightened activity can influence stress patterns in the surrounding crust, potentially affecting Mount Adams. While Mount Adams shows fewer signs of magmatic movement, increased seismicity at Mount St. Helens could alter the stress field, triggering minor earthquakes or changes in geothermal systems at Mount Adams. Although Mount St. Helens and Mount Adams have independent magma chambers, their underlying plumbing systems may be interconnected at deeper levels. Some studies suggest that magma reservoirs in volcanic arcs can interact through shared conduits or crustal weaknesses. Activity at Mount St. Helens, such as magma injection or pressure buildup, might contribute to increased seismicity at Mount Adams, if these deeper connections exist. However, further research is needed to confirm the extent of their geological linkage. Large volcanic eruptions, such as the 1980 eruption of Mount St. Helens, can have far-reaching impacts on regional seismic activity. The eruption caused massive changes in the surrounding crust, including landslides, ash flows, and magma extrusion, which altered the stress distribution in the region. These stress changes can affect nearby volcanoes like Mount Adams, potentially triggering small earthquakes or activating dormant fault lines. While no significant eruptions have been directly linked to this phenomenon at Mount Adams, the possibility remains an area of scientific interest. Even locals believe there's a strong connection between the two volcanoes. The contrast between Mount St. Helens' frequent activity and Mount Adams' relative dormancy highlights the complexity of their relationship. Mount St. Helens has erupted multiple times in the last century, with a continuous record of seismic activity, while Mount Adams has not erupted for over 1,000 years. This disparity suggests that while the two volcanoes share a tectonic setting, their magmatic systems operate independently to a large extent. Nonetheless, changes in the regional stress field caused by Mount St. Helens could still influence Mount Adams' stability. The potential interaction between Mount St. Helens and Mount Adams underscores the importance of comprehensive hazard assessment in the Cascade Range. Seismic monitoring systems must consider the cascading effects of activity at one volcano on others in the region. The proximity of Mount Adams to Mount St. Helens raises the need for ongoing research into their geological connections, particularly in light of recent seismic surges or changes in volcanic activity. Mount Adams under monitoring. Scientists and government agencies are actively working to monitor, analyze, and understand these movements to safeguard the region's residents and environment. A cornerstone of investigating seismic activity at Mount Adams is the deployment of seismic monitoring networks. The United States Geological Survey, USGS, in collaboration with the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network, PNSN, has installed seismometers around the mountain to detect and analyze earthquakes. These instruments record ground motion, allowing scientists to pinpoint earthquake locations, magnitudes, and depths. Such data provide insights into whether the activity is related to tectonic plate movements, magma migration, or other geological processes. The USGS Cascade Volcano Observatory, CVO, plays a central role in monitoring Mount Adams. While the mountain has not erupted for over 1,000 years, it remains classified as an active volcano. CVO scientists regularly assess the area for changes in volcanic activity by analyzing seismic data, gas emissions, and ground deformation. This multidisciplinary approach helps determine if magma is moving beneath the surface, which could signal a potential eruption. Advances in satellite technology have enabled researchers to monitor Mount Adams remotely. Tools like interferometric synthetic aperture radar, INSAR, are used to detect ground deformation, which might indicate magma intrusion or fault line activity. These satellite observations complement ground-based instruments, offering a broader perspective on changes occurring across the region. Fieldwork remains essential in understanding the geology of Mount Adams. Scientists from universities and government agencies conduct detailed mapping of fault lines, lava flows, and glacial deposits to reconstruct the mountain's history of activity. These studies help identify patterns of past eruptions and seismic events, offering clues about potential future behavior. Additionally, examining the mountain's hydrothermal systems and glacial interactions provides insight into non-magmatic sources of seismicity. Collaboration between local, national, and international organizations has enhanced the understanding of seismic movements at Mount Adams. The USGS, PNSN, and academic institutions share seismic data and research findings, fostering a comprehensive understanding of the region. Such partnerships also involve indigenous communities, particularly the Yakama Nation, whose traditional knowledge of the area provides valuable perspectives on geological changes. The government and scientists recognize the importance of preparing local communities for potential seismic or volcanic hazards. Public education campaigns, emergency response plans, and risk assessments are integral parts of their efforts. Organizations like the USGS and FEMA work with local governments to conduct drills, distribute educational materials, and develop evacuation plans to ensure the safety of residents and visitors. Scientists are also studying the impact of climate change on Mount Adams, particularly its glaciers. Glacial melting and retreat can influence seismic activity by altering the pressure on the Earth's crust. Research teams are investigating the links between these changes and local seismicity, helping to refine predictions and understand the broader implications of a warming climate on the mountain. Modern computational models allow scientists to simulate geological processes occurring beneath Mount Adams. These models integrate seismic data, geological mapping, and satellite observations to predict the likelihood of future seismic or volcanic events. By testing various scenarios, researchers can better understand the potential risks posed by the mountain's activity. By advancing technology and fostering collaboration, these efforts contribute to the safety and resilience of the region. Is this enough to eliminate the concerned locals in that part of Washington? Response of locals. Mount Adams has garnered attention for occasional surges in seismic activity. Although the mountain has not erupted in centuries, the potential risks associated with earthquake surges have prompted local communities, government agencies, and stakeholders to take proactive measures. The local response to such events reflects a blend of preparedness, collaboration, and resilience. Local governments and emergency management agencies play a critical role in preparing communities for earthquake-related risks. In areas surrounding Mount Adams, such as Trout Lake and White Salmon, preparedness programs focus on educating residents about earthquake safety, creating emergency plans, and distributing resources like emergency kits. Public workshops, school drills, and information campaigns help ensure that individuals and families understand how to respond during seismic events. The response to seismic activity involves coordination between multiple entities, including local governments, the United States Geological Survey, and the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network, PNSN. These organizations work together to assess the risks associated with earthquake surges, share real-time data, and provide updates to the public. Local authorities rely on this information to make informed decisions about evacuation plans or other protective measures. After an earthquake surge, local authorities prioritize assessing the integrity of critical infrastructure, such as roads, bridges, and buildings. Given Mount Adams' remote location, maintaining access routes for emergency responders is a top priority. Engineers and safety teams evaluate whether structures have sustained damage or need reinforcement, ensuring that communities remain connected and safe in the aftermath of seismic activity. Local communities near Mount Adams have demonstrated strong resilience and solidarity in response to seismic activity. Volunteer groups often play a crucial role in disaster preparedness and response efforts. For example, residents might assist with emergency drills, support evacuation procedures, or help neighbors secure their homes against potential aftershocks. These grassroots efforts complement the work of professional emergency responders, creating a comprehensive approach to managing seismic risks. Seismic activity at Mount Adams can disrupt the region's natural environment, affecting forests, water sources, and wildlife habitats. Local conservation organizations and indigenous communities collaborate to monitor these impacts and develop strategies to mitigate environmental damage. For example, efforts might include safeguarding water quality in nearby rivers and streams, or protecting sensitive habitats from landslides or erosion triggered by earthquakes. Mount Adams holds cultural and spiritual significance for indigenous tribes, particularly the Yakama Nation. The tribe has been actively involved in responding to seismic activity, drawing on traditional knowledge to understand and address geological changes. Indigenous leaders work with local governments and scientists to ensure that response plans respect cultural sites and traditions while addressing community safety. Transparent and timely communication is vital during an earthquake surge. Local governments and emergency agencies use various channels, such as social media, radio broadcasts, and community meetings, to provide updates on seismic activity and safety recommendations. Clear communication helps reduce panic, build trust, and ensure that residents have access to accurate information. But how about one important economic benefit of Mount Adams? Mount Adams is a popular destination for outdoor recreation, attracting hikers, climbers, and campers. An earthquake surge can disrupt tourism, a key economic driver for nearby communities. Local businesses and tourism boards often collaborate with emergency management teams to provide guidance for visitors, such as closures of trails or camping areas, while emphasizing safety measures to minimize risks. In addition to immediate responses, local governments are focused on long-term resilience planning to address future seismic events. This includes updating building codes, retrofitting older structures, and investing in early warning systems. Community leaders also work to integrate seismic risk assessments into land use planning, ensuring that new developments are designed with earthquake safety in mind. The The local response to earthquake surges at Mount Adams highlights the importance of preparedness, collaboration, and resilience. Through emergency planning, agency coordination, community involvement, and environmental stewardship, residents and authorities are working together to address the challenges posed by seismic activity. By prioritizing safety and fostering a proactive approach, the region is better equipped to mitigate risks and protect its people, infrastructure, and natural heritage. The beauty of Mount Adams. It's definitely a treasure trove of natural beauty and adventure. Mount Adams, in its majestic snow-capped summit, lush forests, and sprawling meadows, attract tourists and outdoor enthusiasts from across the globe. As a hub for recreation and exploration, Mount Adams offers a diverse range of outdoor activities that highlight its ecological richness and cultural significance. One of the most popular activities at Mount Adams is hiking. The mountain boasts a variety of trails, catering to everyone from casual walkers to seasoned adventurers. Trails such as the South Climb Route and the Round the Mountain Trail offer breathtaking views of glaciers, alpine meadows, and volcanic landscapes. For experienced climbers, summiting Mount Adams is a challenging yet rewarding adventure. The ascent provides panoramic views of the surrounding Cascade Peaks, making it a bucket list destination for mountaineers. The Mount Adams area is a haven for campers and backpackers. Numerous campgrounds, such as Cold Springs and Taklach Lake, provide serene settings for overnight stays. For those seeking a more immersive experience, backpacking trips around the mountain offer opportunities to explore its diverse ecosystems, from dense forests to wildflower-filled meadows. Stargazing is a favorite activity for campers, as the remote location offers clear, unpolluted night skies. In winter, Mount Adams transforms into a playground for skiers and snowboarders. The mountain slopes are perfect for backcountry skiing, offering deep powder and challenging terrain for winter sports enthusiasts. Although it lacks developed ski resorts, its remote, unspoiled conditions appeal to those seeking a unique and adventurous skiing experience. The lakes and streams surrounding Mount Adams, such as Taklach Lake and the Lewis River, are popular destinations for fishing and water activities. Anglers can catch rainbow trout and other fish species while enjoying the serene beauty of the area. Paddleboarding, kayaking, and canoeing are also popular on the calm waters, providing a relaxing way to take in the mountain's scenic surroundings. The diverse habitats around Mount Adams are home to an array of wildlife. Visitors often spot deer, black bears, and marmots while exploring the region. The area is also a prime destination for birdwatchers, who come to see species such as bald eagles, ospreys, and woodpeckers. The meadows and wetlands surrounding the mountain offer ideal locations for wildlife observation. For the Yakima Nation and other indigenous tribes, Mount Adams holds deep spiritual and cultural significance. Visitors have the opportunity to learn about the rich history and traditions associated with the mountain through cultural tours and educational programs. This aspect of tourism provides a deeper appreciation for the mountain beyond its recreational offerings. While tourism brings economic benefits to local communities, it also poses challenges for the environment. Increased foot traffic can lead to soil erosion, vegetation damage, and waste management issues. Overcrowding on popular trails and campgrounds can diminish the experience for visitors and disrupt local wildlife. Responsible tourism practices, such as leave no trace principles, are essential to preserving the mountain's natural beauty. Tourism and outdoor activities at Mount Adams contribute significantly to the local economy. Businesses offering guided tours, equipment rentals, and accommodations benefit from the influx of visitors. Additionally, community events, such as trail cleanups and outdoor festivals, foster a sense of stewardship among residents and visitors alike. Efforts are underway to ensure that tourism at Mount Adams remains sustainable. Local governments and conservation organizations are working together to maintain trails, protect wildlife habitats, and educate visitors about environmental preservation. By striking a balance between recreation and conservation, these initiatives aim to protect Mount Adams for future generations. How is tourism being affected by the seismic movements? Recent seismic movements around the mountain have begun to raise concerns among tourists, local businesses, and conservationists alike. While the seismic activity has not led to catastrophic events, it has had noticeable effects on tourism in the region, both directly and indirectly. Seismic movements near Mount Adams have caused some potential visitors to reconsider their travel plans. Even though the mountain has not erupted in centuries and remains relatively dormant compared to nearby Mount St. Helens, the perception of danger can deter tourists. News of earthquakes, even small ones, often leads to heightened fears of volcanic eruptions or other geological hazards, making visitors hesitant to explore the region. Increased seismic activity often prompts precautionary measures from authorities, including temporary closures of trails, campgrounds, and recreational areas. These closures, though necessary for safety, directly impact tourism by limiting access to popular attractions. For instance, climbers attempting to summit Mount Adams or hikers exploring the Round the Mountain Trail may find their plans disrupted due to safety concerns tied to potential rockfalls, landslides, or unstable terrain caused by seismic activity. Tourism is a significant economic driver for communities surrounding Mount Adams. Restaurants, lodges, equipment rental shops, and tour guides depend on a steady stream of visitors. When seismic movements deter tourists or lead to trail closures, these businesses suffer financially. Seasonal businesses are particularly vulnerable, as any disruption during peak tourism periods can result in substantial revenue losses. While some visitors may avoid the area altogether, others adapt their plans to avoid perceived risks. Tourists may choose less challenging or lower altitude activities, such as visiting nearby lakes or scenic viewpoints, instead of summiting Mount Adams or camping in remote areas. This shift in behavior can reduce demand for specialized services, such as guided climbs or backcountry gear rentals, further affecting the local economy. On a positive note, seismic activity has increased public awareness of the geological processes shaping Mount Adams. Some visitors, particularly those with an interest in geology or volcanology, are drawn to the region to learn about its dynamic landscape. Educational programs, guided tours, and interpretive centers have an opportunity to capitalize on this interest, providing a unique perspective on the interplay between seismic activity and the natural environment. Seismic movements have prompted authorities and local businesses to implement enhanced safety measures. These include increased monitoring, improved signage, and updated emergency response plans. While these efforts aim to reassure visitors, they can also create a perception of heightened risk, further discouraging tourism. Additionally, the costs associated with implementing safety measures may strain local budgets and reduce funding for other tourism-related initiatives. Seismic activity often exacerbates environmental challenges, such as soil erosion, landslides, and disrupted water flows. These issues can damage trails, campsites, and ecosystems, making the region less appealing to outdoor enthusiasts. Conservation groups and government agencies are working to mitigate these impacts through restoration projects and sustainable tourism practices. However, such efforts require time and resources, potentially limiting immediate access to certain areas. While the current effects of seismic movements on tourism at Mount Adams are manageable, the long-term implications remain uncertain. If seismic activity were to increase significantly or lead to volcanic events, the region could face more substantial disruptions. On the other hand, increased scientific interest in the mountain's geology could attract specialized tourism, such as researchers and students seeking first-hand experiences of an active volcanic environment. To minimize the negative impacts, local communities and authorities must continue to prioritize safety, communication, and sustainable tourism practices. By balancing the region's natural risks with its unique appeal, Mount Adams can remain a vital destination for adventurers and nature enthusiasts alike. You've reached the end of the video. Stay tuned for more nature updates topics.